Have you ever felt that nervous pit in your stomach before a job interview? Maybe you've even questioned if the interviewer was rooting against you, or doubted your ability to stand out in a room full of qualified candidates. If any of this sounds familiar, then you're in the right place. In this video, we're not only going to help you overcome these insecurities, but also give you the tools to turn the tables to your advantage. How? Through the power of reverse psychology, a method that can change the way you approach interviews and help you gain a competitive edge. Today, you'll learn practical strategies that use reverse psychology to boost your confidence and calm your nerves, giving you a real advantage in the interview process. The benefits? You'll discover how to navigate high-pressure situations with a clear mind and a calm demeanor, helping you showcase your best self. Stick with us through the video, and by the end, you'll understand how to create a powerful impression that sticks with your interviewer long after you've left the room. If you're ready to master these transformative techniques and change how you experience interviews, let's get started on this journey together. Identifying the problem: insecurity in job interviews. Many of us have experienced that anxiety that comes right before or even during a job interview. It's that sinking feeling that no matter how much we prepared, we might be judged too harshly, stumble on our words, or simply fail to impress. In fact, it's not uncommon for highly qualified candidates to underperform an interview simply because nerves take over. Imagine walking into an interview with all the right skills, yet leaving feeling that your performance didn't quite hit the mark. For many, this experience is all too real, and it stems from a common issue: a lack of confidence that's often magnified by the high-stakes environment of an interview. When our anxiety is at its peak, we're more likely to second-guess ourselves, freeze up, or even come off as unsure, qualities that can make a recruiter question if we're really right for the role. But what if we could turn that anxiety into an advantage? What if, instead of being at the mercy of our nerves, we could harness them to demonstrate confidence and control? This is where reverse psychology comes into play, offering a unique set of strategies to counteract these challenges. Through techniques like reframing questions, detaching from outcomes, and setting realistic expectations, reverse psychology allows us to take a step back, reframe the experience, and gain the upper hand, an approach that can be transformative in any interview setting. Next, we'll dive into what reverse psychology actually is and explore how it can be a game changer in high-pressure situations like job interviews. Understanding reverse psychology and its benefits. Before we dive into specific techniques, let's break down what reverse psychology actually is and why it works so effectively in job interviews. At its core, reverse psychology is a psychological strategy where you subtly influence someone to react or think in a way that benefits you by presenting an idea or behavior in a way they might naturally resist. In other words, it's the art of indirectly encouraging a desired reaction without making it obvious. In the context of job interviews, reverse psychology can be incredibly powerful. Interviews can often feel like interrogations, and candidates frequently assume they need to respond with rehearsed answers to impress the interviewer. However, applying reverse psychology allows you to shift the dynamic. By using subtle, strategic approaches, you can convey a sense of calm confidence and even steer the interview in a direction where your strengths are more naturally highlighted. For example, when you display confidence through reverse psychology, you're sending a message to the interviewer that you're not overly dependent on securing this job. This creates an impression of self-assurance and competence, traits every employer is looking for. When candidates appear too eager or stressed, it can inadvertently signal insecurity, which may lead interviewers to question their fit. Reverse psychology helps avoid this pitfall by demonstrating that you're in control of your responses and emotions. Another benefit of reverse psychology in interviews is that it allows you to position yourself as a consultative candidate rather than appearing as someone seeking approval. You come across as someone evaluating if the role aligns with your skills and professional goals. This slight but impactful shift in perspective can leave interviewers feeling more at ease and even more interested in hiring you. Reverse psychology isn't about tricking anyone. It's about strategically framing your answers and attitude to promote a sense of confidence, mutual respect, and professionalism. With this foundational understanding of how reverse psychology works, we can now move on to specific, actionable techniques. In the next section, we'll cover 3 practical reverse psychology strategies you can use to enhance your interview performance and stand out as a confident, capable candidate. Practical reverse psychology techniques for job interviews. Now that you understand the power of reverse psychology, let's look at 3 practical techniques you can apply to interviews. Each technique is designed to subtly shift the dynamics in your favor, helping you project confidence and engage your interviewer effectively. Technique 1. Question inversion. One of the most powerful ways to demonstrate confidence is by skillfully inverting questions during the interview. Question inversion means taking a question that might normally make you feel defensive or uncertain and turning it into an opportunity to show insight and control. For instance, if the interviewer asks, "Why did you leave your last job?" instead of giving a detailed account, you can turn the response into a more forward-looking answer. "I left because I'm looking for an opportunity where I can bring value through projects like example, which I understand is a focus here." This subtle inversion allows you to focus on your strengths and goals rather than rehashing past details. It shows the interviewer that you're not dwelling on previous roles, but instead concentrating on how you can contribute. Moreover, when you answer in this way, you are guiding the conversation toward your unique skills and how they align with the position, projecting confidence and clarity. Technique 2. Adopting a detached mindset. Another valuable technique in reverse psychology is adopting a detached mindset, often called the mindset of abundance. This approach involves mentally detaching from the specific outcome of the interview, creating an impression of self-sufficiency, and reducing the anxiety that comes from placing too much emphasis on any one job opportunity. When you approach an interview with a sense of inner detachment, you're more likely to come across as composed and self-assured, showing the interviewer that, while you are genuinely interested, you aren't desperate or dependent on the role. This mindset is particularly effective because it encourages interviewers to see you as a candidate who could succeed anywhere, instead of acting overly eager, which can sometimes be interpreted as insecurity. You send a message of quiet confidence. A useful way to implement this is to remind yourself before the interview, this is just one opportunity among many. If this one doesn't align, another will. This detachment will naturally reflect in your body language and tone, and interviewers will notice the difference. Technique 3. Setting realistic expectations. When candidates put intense pressure on themselves to be perfect in an interview, the result is often stress and underperformance. One of the best ways to counteract this tendency is by setting realistic expectations for yourself through reverse psychology. This means reminding yourself that you don't need to have the perfect answer for every question. Instead, you need to stay composed and communicate authentically. Setting realistic expectations can also mean acknowledging areas for growth. For instance, if an interviewer asks about a skill you're still developing, resist the urge to overcompensate. Instead, say something like, "That's an area I've been actively developing, especially in recent months. I've taken steps like specific example, and I'm confident in my progress." This shows self-awareness and honesty, attributes that recruiters respect. Surprisingly, by acknowledging a weakness, you're actually demonstrating strength and a willingness to grow, which makes you more appealing as a candidate. Using the techniques in combination, each of these strategies, question inversion, a detached mindset, and setting realistic expectations, works powerfully on its own, but they can be even more effective when combined. Imagine answering a question about a complex project by framing your experience with a question inversion, signaling detachment by showing you're open to various roles, and adding a dose of self-awareness by honestly mentioning areas where you're still learning. Together, these techniques create a well-rounded impression of confidence, adaptability, and authenticity. For example, say the interviewer asks about a project that didn't go as planned. Using question inversion, you could say, "That's a great question. The real lesson I took from that experience was the importance of adjusting strategies as situations evolve. which is something I admire about this company's approach. Here, you shift the focus toward a positive learning outcome, rather than getting mired in the details of the setback. Combine this with a detached mindset by adding, "My goal is always to find growth in challenges, regardless of the immediate result." This response not only addresses the question, but also subtly communicates that you're focused on long-term development, not just short-term success. Practicing these techniques may take time, but they're well worth it. They'll become a natural part of your approach and help you face any interview with a level of confidence that's hard to ignore. In the next section, we'll explore real-life examples and scenarios that show how these techniques play out, helping you get a clearer picture of how to apply them in your own interviews. Applying the techniques, professional examples, and interview simulations. Let's bring these techniques to life with some realistic interview scenarios. By observing how reverse psychology can be applied in these contexts, you'll gain a clearer understanding of how to use these strategies effectively in your own interviews. Scenario 1. Responding to a weakness question. Imagine you're asked, "What's a weakness you're currently working on?" Instead of trying to sidestep the question or give a rehearsed answer, apply technique 3. Setting realistic expectations. You could respond with something like, "One area I'm developing is my proficiency with data analytics tools. Recently, I've enrolled in an online course to enhance my skills, and I'm already noticing improvements. While I'm not yet an expert, I've been actively integrating what I'm learning into my current projects." This answer demonstrates self-awareness and growth, making a potential weakness sound like an opportunity for development. By openly addressing a genuine area for improvement, you not only show honesty, but also imply confidence in your ability to grow, a quality any employer values. Scenario 2. The "Why should we hire you?" question. This question often feels like a challenge to prove your worth, which can make candidates overly eager or stressed. Using technique 2, detached mindset, respond as if you're assessing the company just as much as they're assessing you. Based on my experience in project management and my recent achievements in streamlining team processes, I believe I could make a significant impact here. But ultimately, it's about finding the right fit on both sides. I'd be excited to bring my skills here, but I'm also looking for a company that values collaboration and growth as much as I do. This response is powerful because it subtly shows that you're not overly dependent on this role. You're positioning yourself as a confident, discerning candidate who's looking for a mutual fit. This balance can leave interviewers with the impression that you're confident and selective, which is often highly appealing. Scenario 3. Addressing a project failure. Say you're asked about a time when a project didn't go as planned. This is where technique 1, question inversion, can work wonders. Instead of explaining every detail of the setback, focus on the positive outcomes and what you learned. That's a good question. I believe that the most valuable lesson I took away from that experience was the importance of adaptive project management. By shifting our focus midway, I learned how to pivot efficiently, a skill that's incredibly relevant here as well. By inverting the question in this way, you've used reverse psychology to steer the focus toward your adaptability and resilience rather than dwelling on failure. This approach not only reframes the experience, but also highlights a strength, making you appear more resourceful and prepared for challenges. With these examples, you can see how reverse psychology doesn't need to be manipulative or forced. Instead, it can help you convey your confidence naturally, guiding the conversation in a way that showcases your strengths without appearing overeager or defensive. Next, we'll look at case studies and real-life stories that demonstrate the success of these techniques, giving you a final layer of insight into their impact. Testimonials and case studies validating the techniques. To reinforce the impact of reverse psychology in interviews, let's look at a few testimonials and case studies of professionals who successfully use these techniques to boost their confidence and secure their ideal roles. Case study 1. Sarah, a marketing manager. Sarah, a marketing professional with over 5 years of experience, had repeatedly faced interview rejections despite her qualifications. She struggled with sounding too eager, which led some interviewers to question her confidence. By using technique 2, detached mindset, Sarah changed her approach. She began each interview with the mindset that the right role would come naturally and focus on calmly presenting her strengths without seeming overly invested in any one position. As a result, Sarah's interview demeanor shifted noticeably. Her relaxed and assured responses impressed recruiters, and within 2 weeks, she received a job offer that perfectly matched her skills and goals. She credits the detached mindset for helping her to finally let go of the fear of rejection and focus on finding the right fit. Case study 2, Mark, a software developer. Mark, a skilled developer, was once questioned about a past project failure. Previously, he would dive into the specifics, but after learning technique 1, question inversion, he framed his response around what he'd learned and how it made him a more adaptable professional. This response impressed the interviewer, showing him as someone who grows from setbacks rather than being defined by them. Mark was offered the role shortly after. These real-world examples show how a strategic, psychology-driven approach can positively influence interview outcomes. By learning to steer conversations and project calm confidence, you too can leverage these techniques to open new professional doors. As we wrap up, let's recap the powerful reverse psychology techniques we've explored and reflect on how they can reshape your interview experience. Each technique we've discussed serves as a tool to help you overcome nervousness, project confidence, and leave a lasting impression on interviewers. Quick recap of the techniques. 1. Question inversion. By redirecting challenging questions into positive, forward-focused responses, you're able to guide the conversation towards your strengths and goals. This technique empowers you to highlight what truly sets you apart without getting bogged down by past experiences or perceived weaknesses. 2. Detached mindset. Approaching interviews with a detached or abundant mindset can make a profound difference in how you're perceived. This approach not only calms your nerves but also signals that you're a candidate with options, one who seeks a role that aligns with both your skills and values. This mindset change allows you to exude confidence naturally. 3. Setting realistic expectations. Striving for perfection can often lead to stress and missed opportunities. By setting realistic expectations, you show that you're not just aware of your growth areas, but you're also honest and committed to self-improvement. This demonstrates maturity and reliability, attributes that recruiters highly value. Final reflection. Together, these techniques create a mindset shift that empowers you to walk into any interview with a strong sense of self. Instead of succumbing to nerves or feeling at the mercy of each question, you're prepared to take a proactive role in the conversation. Reverse psychology allows you to subtly guide the interview in your favor without appearing forceful or overprepared. Remember, the goal of using reverse psychology isn't to manipulate or control. It's to project your best self confidently and authentically. When done right, these techniques can reveal your true potential, making you stand out as a thoughtful, capable candidate who knows their worth. As you move forward, take some time to practice these approaches so they feel natural and intuitive. By refining these skills, you'll be prepared to face any interview with the confidence and clarity needed to succeed. Now that you know the reverse psychology techniques that can transform your interviews, it's time to put them into practice. I challenge you to choose one of the strategies we discussed today and apply it in your next interview. But before you do that, here's a practical exercise you can complete to prepare. Take some time to simulate an interview with a friend or even in front of a mirror. Make a list of common questions you expect to be asked, and instead of responding in a standard way, use the technique of question inversion. Try to flip the questions and focus on how you can highlight your strengths. Also, practice the detached mindset. Remember, this is just one opportunity among many. This will help relieve pressure and keep you more relaxed. After the simulation, reflect on how you felt during the exercise. What worked? What could be improved? This will not only help build your confidence, but also make your responses more authentic and impactful. If you enjoyed this video and found value in the techniques we shared, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. This way, you'll stay updated with more amazing tips on how to stand out in interviews and achieve your professional goals. And stay tuned, because in our next video, we'll explore how to handle unexpected questions and maintain your composure when things don't go as planned. You won't want to miss it. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.